Listen up, because we are diving right into the absolute deep end today. Welcome to your Elite Exam Strategy Masterclass for the Cambridge AS Level Afrikaans Language Syllabus. I am your master coach, and today we are in our digital studio focusing entirely on dissecting the sport topic area. We're talking individual, team, amateur, and professional sports. Now, if you are aiming for top-tier marks on paper 8, 6, 7, 9, I need you to hear this loud and clear. Simply memorizing a list of Afrikaans vocabulary is absolutely not going to cut it. You need a rock-solid analytical strategy. You need to understand how this assessment works from the inside out, where exactly the traps are laid, and how to command your time allocation perfectly. In this explainer, we are going to reverse engineer the exact methodologies, critical thinking strategies, and evaluative techniques you need to conquer this high-stakes, recurring topic and absolutely crush those high-tariff 9 to 15 mark questions. Let's get to work. Here is our strategic roadmap to unlocking those top-tier marks today. 1. The examiner's lens. 2. Core conceptual principles. 3. The technical methodology. 4. High-level critical analysis. And 5. Avoiding classic exam traps. Let's jump straight into Section 1, the examiner's lens. We need to look directly at what the people grading your papers actually want to see. Look at this quote I've pulled directly from the principal examiner reports. It says, "Candidates referencing cross-topic connections achieve significantly higher marks." So what does this actually mean for you when you're sitting in that exam hall? It means the theoretical architecture of the sport topic doesn't exist in a vacuum. You cannot just write about amateur versus professional sports in an isolated factual bubble. To unlock premium grades, you have to show how sport intersects with economics, health, or media, and do it all using precise Afrikaans terminology. This is where we need to talk about command word anatomy. When a prompt asks you to explain, that means laying out the facts about amateur sport. But when it asks you to what extent or asks you to evaluate, that is a whole different ballgame. Analyze means breaking down the systematic relationships, while evaluate demands that you actually weigh the impact of, say, professionalization on a local community. If you just explain when they ask you to evaluate, you are literally leaving half your marks on the table. Moving right along to Section 2, Core Conceptual Principles and the Assessment Objectives. To truly succeed, you must demonstrate total competence across 3 specific cognitive domains: knowledge, analysis, and evaluation. To make this concrete, let me bring you into a recent session I had in this digital study suite with 2 of my top scholars. Let's call them Alex and Sam. Now, they were working on a brutal 15-mark question. Alex is highly technical, right? He completely excels at formulas, facts, and precise definitions, which is perfect for assessment objective 1, knowledge and understanding. Sam, on the other hand, is a creative thinker. She's incredibly strong at building arguments and big-picture ideas, which feeds right into assessment objective 3, evaluation. But as they debated how to lay out their essay, they clashed. Alex argued for a purely factual approach, just list the Afrikaans vocabulary for professional rugby structures. Sam pushed back, arguing for a broader conceptual perspective. No, we have to evaluate the social impact. So who was right? Well, they both were, but they were missing the bridge. That bridge is assessment objective 2. Analysis. I had to step in and show them that if funding for a local rugby club decreases, you can't just state the fact like Alex, and you can't just offer an opinion like Sam. You have to articulate the systematic, causal ripple effect in your writing. You need all 3 domains working together seamlessly. And that debate brings us perfectly to the method mark strategy. This is absolutely crucial, folks. It's a grading principle where marks are awarded for demonstrating the correct analytical process, not just stating the final answer. Alex really struggled with this. He kept asking, if my final conclusion about the sport's infrastructure is correct, why does it matter how I got there? It matters because at the AS level, examiners are testing your cognitive process. You have to show your multi-stage analytical work. Think of it like a math problem. You get marks for the working out. If you jump straight to the conclusion without building that logical linguistic chain step by step in your Afrikaans text, you are bleeding process marks. You capture those top bands by proving how you arrived at your evidence-based reasoning. Which brings us to Section 3, the technical methodology, and our processing sequences. When you're handed a dense stimulus text about amateur or professional sport, you need a standardized processing sequence. Here is the 5-step blueprint you should literally memorize. 1. Identify the key elements and constraints of the prompt. 2. Apply the relevant syllabus principles. 3. Execute your analysis with clear, logical working. 4. Verify your results to ensure they actually make sense. And 5. Present your argument in the appropriate format. During that study session I mentioned earlier, Alex and Sam tried to apply this exact sequence to a past paper, but they hit a massive roadblock right at step 3. They were trying to execute the analysis, but their time allocation completely fell apart, and they couldn't figure out how to link their paragraphs logically. They went from a great start to a disorganized mess in about 10 minutes. I had to use a picture-in-picture feature on our smartboard to pause their session, step in, and rewire their cognitive strategy. Now, before I tell you exactly how I got Alex and Sam unstuck and help them rewrite that flawed section into a flawless, full-mark response, I want to pause for a quick second. If you are serious about unlocking these high-level strategies every single week, I need you to hit that subscribe button right now for Ace the Exam's IGCSE O and A levels at the handle at acetheexam_IGCS. Make sure you enable all notifications so you never miss a Cambridge breakthrough strategy. All right, let's get back to it. The roadblock Alex and Sam hit was largely due to completely ignoring Step 5, strict presentation conventions. Incredibly smart students lose points unnecessarily right here. We are talking about using proper headings, deploying correct Afrikaans sporting terminology flawlessly, and formatting everything with clear annotations. Examiners view this structural precision as a core professional skill. If your analysis is brilliant, but your presentation is a disorganized wall of text, your grade takes a massive hit. Let's dive into Section 4, High-Level Critical Analysis and Elevating Your Grade. So how did we fix Alex and Sam's essay? I introduced them to the paragraph balance formula. When you are asked to perform a comparative analysis, say looking at the infrastructure of an individual sport versus the team sport, it is absolutely not enough to just list the similarities. That's a rookie mistake. Top-scoring candidates identify both similarities and differences. More importantly, they link them using highly specific comparative connectives in Afrikaans. We rewrote their paragraph out loud, systematically inserting connectives like aan die ander kant for contrast and daarteenoor. We made sure that for every similarity they presented, they balanced the paragraph by exploring a critical difference supported by hard text evidence. That is how you transition from a mediocre, rambling answer into a tight, flawless, full-mark response. This all boils down to an ultimate problem-solving framework I call the 3-step question scan: deconstruct, solve, and evaluate. First, you deconstruct the prompt to identify the given info and break it down. Second, you solve by processing the data systematically through your syllabus knowledge. And third, you evaluate by checking the reasonableness of your argument and justifying your recommendations. Whether it's a question about sports funding, team dynamics, or professionalization, this deconstruct, solve, evaluate methodology is the disciplined engine that will drive you to maximum marks every single time. Finally, we reach Section 5, the most critical part of this explainer: avoiding classic exam traps straight from the principal examiner's warnings. I want to run a quick, immersive workshop with you right now. I'm addressing you directly. Have you ever wondered why perfectly good knowledge doesn't always translate into full marks? You walk out of the exam room feeling invincible. You knew all the Afrikaans vocabulary for amateur and professional sports. You managed your time well, yet the grade comes back way lower than expected. Why does that happen? Especially in multi-stage analysis. I want you to imagine a complex text excerpt on our holographic board right now. Imagine a 60-second visual countdown timer ticking down. You read the data, you know the facts, but the marks slip away. Why? Let's look at a poorly written student answer to spot the flaws. According to Cambridge examiners, there are 3 fatal mistakes hidden in most bad responses. I'm highlighting them on the board for you now. Error number 1, using the wrong approach for the wrong context, like deploying a factual explain response when the command word demanded a critical evaluate approach. Error number 2, forgetting to check format and presentation, giving the examiner a giant unstructured block of text. And error number 3, the biggest trap of all, providing answers that are entirely unspecific to the context given. Let's dig deeper into that last trap, because this is the ultimate examiner alert. Never, ever provide a generic answer. If the exam question hands you a highly specific stimulus text about a struggling amateur tennis club in South Africa facing funding cuts, your answer absolutely cannot be a generic, memorized essay about the general health benefits of sport. You must constantly, relentlessly link every single point you make back to the specific context of that tennis club. Context is king. You can write the most beautiful Afrikaans prose in the world, but if it doesn't solve the specific contextual problem you were handed, you will get 0 marks for that section. To bulletproof your answers against these traps, you need to use this evaluative thinking checklist. I call this the last 5 minutes review checklist. When Alex and Sam started using this, they had massive personal breakthroughs. Alex realized that to hit those evaluation marks, he had to question the assumptions presented in the text, not just accept them as fact. Sam realized she had to consider alternative perspectives, asking herself, how would a professional coach view this compared to an amateur player? And most importantly, they both learned that every single decision must be justified with hard, irrefutable evidence extracted directly from the texts or data tables. This checklist forces your brain out of descriptive writing and into high-level critical thinking. So, as we wrap up this masterclass, ask yourself, are you ready to apply the method mark strategy and completely contextualize your next past paper response? Today, we synthesize this massive topic into 3 core, memorable pillars: the 3-step question scan, the paragraph balance formula, and the last 5 minutes review checklist. Knowledge of Afrikaans vocabulary is just your baseline. This strategic deconstruction is what actually wins the top grade. Now, if you are committed to crushing your Cambridge exams, you need consistent strategy. I want you to hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exam's IGCSE O&A levels at the handle @AceTheExam_IGCSE right now. Turn on the notification bell so you catch all our future exam hacks, and drop a comment below telling me exactly what your target grade is. The blueprint is in your hands. Now go apply it.